Welcome to the Pool Nation podcast, where it's all pool talk. And we ain't talking about netting and jetting or splashing and dashing. We're talking about becoming a nation of pool pros. We talk about the latest products, trends, and training in the pool industry. Now let's welcome your host, with over a decade of industry insider experience and still the reigning champion of Marco Polo, Edgar De Jesus, and his co-host, John JJ Flawless, the fastest netter in the West, and Zach the Pool Boy Nicholas.
Welcome, everyone, to the Pool Nation live podcast. Before I continue and I go into our intro, I'm going to throw this one off for a little curve here. Did you guys just notice the video with the belt on my shoulder?
I did.
You know what it dawned on me is that we each need to have a belt, right? Because I'm the fastest netter in the West. John is the fastest netter in the West. I'm the champion of Marco Polo. But the question would be, what would we get for Zach?
Most beautiful on Pool Nation.
Yes.
So his logo would be like some like sexy manly figure type thing because he's
Mr.
a famous
Universe.
pool boy. Mr.
Yeah.
Universe.
Mr.
There
Universe.
you go.
I
Big
used to
huge
have
muscles.
best beard, but John decided to go after me on that one a while ago.
And he went after you hard, bro.
I know.
Like it's his beard is all of a sudden grown legit.
No,
like,
no, I'm envious.
like a manly weird beard, you know. So
Is there any other? Huh? Is there anything
Shots
other
fired.
than a manly beard?
Oh, shots fired.
Apparently, I have
buddy.
one other than a manly beard.
We're trying to wake up John a little bit, but not even that kind of, normally he would have jumped all over that one and been like, what the, but
Yeah.
it just,
No,
he's
keep going.
just-
Keep telling me how
he's
glorious.
mellowed out there. We're trying to motivate you and pump you up and kind of get you going on a, on a
Honestly,
Friday.
I've been threatening to get rid of my beard for I think the last year or two, and
Oh no.
Mama has absolutely put her foot down.
No.
And
Yeah.
won't allow me to. And
Yeah.
I think
Here's what
it's
you do.
Probably the only thing I've ever listened to her as far as her telling me what to do, and I think this is the only thing I've actually. Sorry, Mama.
Hey, here's what you do. You want to get rid of the desire to do that really quick, John? Just grab one of those Instagram or TikTok filters where it shaves off your beard. And as soon as you see yourself, you're going to be like, nah, I'm going to pass.
Yeah.
No.
Well,
But
I'm not one of those guys that, how have you've seen some of them where some guys have beards and then they go off and then they have I don't know, their chin or their neck or whatever. It just looks a little completely different. I think the most famous one out there is, what's his name? Jason Mo, whatever. The Aquaman one. Have you seen that one? Right, the guy looks completely different. You know what I mean, from with a beard or without a beard, and how he looks. I happen to think that I look mighty fine without a beard, but maybe not. Maybe I'm delusional or something.
Zach, we're gonna have to switch your title with John's here, because we're gonna have to give him the one with the sexy picture on it.
Yeah.
Don't do it, bro. Keep the beard.
Yeah, keep it. All right.
Yeah, just keep the beard. Now, I do have to tell you this: if you wanted to do a shock and awe, what you do is you shave, you don't say anything, and then you just come onto a live with no beard. Talk about shock. That would be the hour conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
We wouldn't talk about anything else.
Yes.
So that'd be awesome. What would be awesome is if we do both of you show up with no beards.
Well, Zach would look like a little baby, I think, without a beard. He'd be literally would look like he's 19 years old, I think, without a beard.
We'd have to get him a little pacifier so he could look like a baby. So, hey, good morning. Shout out to Mr. Michael Krause, Mr. Ray DeRosa. What's going on? Mr. Ray DeRosa, are you going to Oxnard? Are you going to go into the championship? I'm going to see if you get out there and kind of compete out there. If you're not, Zach, John, and I have decided that obviously we're going to have to, pull some heat on you for not showing up to compete, right, Zach? Because Nick was bragging, right? Nick was like, "Oh, Ray's the best, and Ray will take it. Nobody will beat him, not even John. Like nobody will beat Ray. Like Ray's it." So Ray, just to let you know, Nick was really kind of your hype man. He was your wingman, and if you don't show up, John was like saying he was going to take it personal. So John even said, John said, I can't compete, obviously, because it's me, but I'm willing to go on a one-on-one with Ray. And, but we'll see if it happens. Mr. David Jones, good morning. Mr. Howard Pringle. Hi, John. Good morning, John.
Hey, Howard.
Anyways, so, hey, everybody out there, today we're going to be talking about something that's going to impact all the pool pros out there. And what is it, Zach?
Tariffs.
That was almost like a bad word. We're going to talk about the tariffs that are being implemented and what you can do to protect your bottom line. Like we like to say, let's control what we can control. He speaks the truth, but I got to let others win. That sounds like a little cop out, right, John?
I don't know.
What are you thinking, John?
No, I got to give much props to Ray.
But he's bailing out.
Well, because sometimes when to know when to quit is the right decision. You know what I mean?
Oh, shots fired! You know what? I need some noise.
It takes a bigger man. It takes a bigger man to do that sometimes.
To know when to step aside.
Yeah, Look, I think he just has respect for the old men in the industry, and he's like, he's gonna let the old guy just walk away with his pride still intact and not embarrass me. I'm sure is what Ray's after. Now he's a good guy, 100%.
Actually, you know what? He turned around and he said, "I am all in. Challenge accepted. One-on-one with Mr. JJ.
Let's go.
Let's go." See, John's like, "Let's go." Hey, this is an easy conversation. Buy American like Aquastar. No price increases in 2 years.
Exactly right. Is that beautiful? Hey, don't think we're not going to talk about that. Right?
Kevin, big shout out to you. Kevin is saying it is on. So it is on like Donkey Kong, right? Zach doesn't know what that is, but you and I do, John. So anyways, so hey, we're going to be talking about tariffs. We're going to be talking about the things that are coming in the pipeline. And, it's funny because I think it was Zach that sent, the message on the chat with the price increases that are coming, and obviously with regards to the tariffs and stuff like that. And we're kind of having a conversation, and John, it just feels like it just doesn't stop, right? Like ever since COVID, everything that has to do with pricing has just, and it's not just the pool industry, right? Let's be realistic, but it just feels like we kind of can't like catch a little bit of a break.
Bro, life is expensive, dude, and that is like life is expensive. And I was just thinking about this. I don't know if there was like again, and I relate. It's so funny. When you get sucked into the whole like meme world and stuff, and people and what they post about, there's so much truth behind a lot of things. And there's like a certain one like that went around like years ago and talks about like somebody who said, me when I was making X amount of money, and then me when I was making over $100,000 a year, what my life would be like, and how you live in poor now, you know what I mean? And what the money you need the income you need to generate in order to live like just the humble, peaceful life that you thought you wanted or needed when you were a kid. Just look at like home prices and stuff. I mean, $1 million homes now are like shacks.
Yeah.
In some places, and it's like, or $1 million home when I grew up was like, wow, like the house on the hill, and with the huge staircase, leading into like the front entryway, and marble tiles and ceilings and stuff. And it's like $1 million now is like Nothing.
1950s house, you know,
Yeah.
1,500 square feet, you know,
like,
windows that are 50 years old.
And then cars and trucks. And I mean, Jesus, just buying a truck, you know what I mean? Like what you're paying for now compared to, we'd be driving around in supercars and shit.
Viper
you know?
trucks.
Dude, I mean, groceries is especially the thing that I don't get, you know. We go there and we walk. It's impossible to go to the grocery store and spend less than $500. And I mean, well, we have a family of 6, right? And we're just going, it's like, oh, let's cook and not eat out and save some money and let's cook. Bullshit, bro. You know, you go to make like a pasta, right? You know, you get the ingredients to make like a pasta sauce or something like that. Something simple, right? You know what I mean? With some meat or whatever it may be. And you're at like $150. And it's like, what is going on at the grocery store?
I pulled the meme. I pulled the meme on Leanne. I came home with a couple of bags from the grocery store, and I'm like, babe, normally people as they get older, they don't get stronger. I go, but I'm getting stronger. And she's looking at me, and I'm like, man, I remember when I used to carry $100 worth of groceries. I couldn't carry it that much. And look at how easy it is.
Dude, it's ridiculous. And it's like the greatest trick, you know, right before our eyes, and it's all kind of just happened, you know what I mean? And it's like we haven't even almost not even we noticed when it was too late, you know. And it's just bonkers, like a bag of friggin' Cheetos, bro, you know what I mean? It's like $8. I mean, what the hell? And it's like, I don't know. Listen, it is kind of crazy.
I'm a coffee guy, and I love to go to little shops to try different coffees, but I've stopped doing that. The other day I walked into a coffee shop, and the coffee was $7, and then they ask you for a tip. I'm like, I'm paying
$9 for a frappuccino.
I'm paying right, and all I get is a little cappuccino, which is the coffee and the milk, you know. And I'm like,
coffee, milk, and ice with some sugar.
I've just stopped. Yeah,
don't start the tip thing.
I have just you know stopped that right there. But think about it, Zach. Right. And I get like there's a whole debate over the tips and all that kind of stuff. But for those people that are making $5, $6, $7 an hour, they have to survive off of the tips, right? That's what they, you know, and we're all in the same boat. They're going to be in the same boat, you know. But it's just crazy. And, you know, for our industry, it's, you know, it just feels like it doesn't stop. That's why I sent that little meme. I don't know if you guys saw it. It was like the guys walking off the pirate ship and everything exploding behind. And it's like, oh, here we go again. You know, well, what can you do? You know?
No, I mean, it's like, I've been thinking about this where I was at that point, right? Deciding whether or not I'm going to go to college. And it was like, when I do my time and, you know, maybe I can make like $50,000 a year, you know, good. And it's like that. I mean, that's not even real anymore, you know? Yeah. Like I was going to be balling. You can't win anymore.
No. And it seems like, and the harder you work, the more money you make. It's just like, I mean, look, and this has always been a thing. The more money you make, the more money you spend, right? Until you get to like a breaking point, you know, where you just can't possibly spend enough. You know, but I think we're all yearning to kind of get to that point in our lives. But you know, more money, more bills. You know, and you know, as you grow, I guess you know, you start making more money. You work hard. You want to get a nicer house. You want to get a nicer car. You want to eat out more often. You want to have jewelry. You want to do this. You want to do that. Vacations, whatever it may be. So your expenses start to go up, and it's just like it's the rat race, you know, literally. But at some point, it's like almost like, what the hell, man? And you know, we work so hard. Imagine $1 million now for a nest egg to retire in is absolute dog shit.
It's nothing. It's nothing.
It's nothing, dude.
Yeah,
nothing. You can't. You just can't. You can't live off. You can't retire off of that anymore. You know, with the way things are going.
You just gave me an idea for another podcast. Like we have to talk about that.
We do.
We have to talk about it.
No way. I mean,
you have to talk about it.
You can possibly do it unless you've you've done some serious preparing on your way up.
Yeah.
But anyways, that is a whole nother subject.
All right.
Yeah,
I need to pause the
expensive.
podcast. I need to pause the podcast for just a second because I have got to give a big, huge shout out here. I have to give a shout out to Ashley out here, Pool Rangers out from Florida. We connected yesterday. She was listening to the Instagram live. So Ashley, big, huge shout out to you. They're out of Florida. Really kind of do a VIP service out there. And they are absolutely killing it. There's a lot of things that we talk about to implement and stuff like that. And they're on it. So big, huge shout out to you, Ashley. And yes, kids are definitely very expensive as well. And I know, Ashley, that you have young ones. Just wait till they hit that 13 and 14 where the cheap stuff is no longer cool. It's all, it's all Lululemon. And
well, what's crazy,
$100 for a pair of,
I got an 8-year-old and he's like, Dad, can I have $100? And I'm like, when did that become like the thing?
What did he?
Like at 8 years old,
$100.
I don't know. They were doing a lemonade stand trying to raise money for a 3D printer. But I'm like, what happened to like $5? You know what I mean? I get the inflation has really gone up.
No, it's crazy.
How much are they selling lemonade for?
Chad, can I have $100?
$10 a cup. And then they pull out.
Jeez, I mean that would be on par with everything,
they pull out
right?
the little tip thing for Zach. Hey, can you tell us about your service right here?
Well, it's already factored in, right?
Yeah, look, dude. This whole tip thing is really
$14
I love it.
Here,
I love it. Yeah, can I have $100? Hey, big shout out to Ashley out there, Mr. Corey Holland. Corey's been kind of, I think, in a little bit of hiding, right? He's been in hiding out there, Mr. Corey. Corey's been busy.
He's been building out the place.
He hasn't posted pictures of it anymore. He doesn't do any of that kind of stuff. So, hey, Corey, big shout out to you. Do me a favor, post those so that we could see them. I bet you do have an amazing retreat out there. So, anyways. All right, gentlemen. So let's kind of get back into this. Before we get the podcast started, I do want to thank our visionary partners for our podcast. I want to give a shout out to the SPPA, Blu-ray, Aquastar Pool Products, Natural Chemistry, Raypack, Heritage Pool Supply, Hayward Pool Products, Poolside Tech, and Pool Brain. We want to thank them for their continued support. Normally here I would go into the good mornings, but we're off the rails already this morning. So let's just kind of skip through all that, right? Corey is saying, don't buy property, lots of work, and this effing wind. But here's the problem, Corey.
Dude, it's been so windy here.
Over here too. But here's the thing, Corey. Corey says, don't buy property, but I think Corey bought all the property. That's why he's saying you're right. Because there is nothing little about that. How big was the pond that he was building? Dude, it was the size of a friggin' lake.
Yeah. It's a perspective on like what property means.
Right. So, hey, Corey, just to let you know, I can't build a pond in my backyard. So it's all perspective. So anyways, shout out to you out there, brother. So, hey, want to talk really quick about the Heritage Boot Camp that's happening next Thursday, Friday. John will be flying out here Wednesday. Zach will be driving up. We will be setting up on Wednesday. We will be doing our boot camp starting on Thursday, March 27th. We're excited about it. Day one is going to be all hands on, pumps, filters, automation. You know it. You're going to do it out there. And we're talking about literally, you're going to be cutting wires, stripping wires, running it through conduit. You're going to be, doing everything manual. Hey, big shout out. Look at that. Corey is going on a Kubota excavator as we speak. Look at that. I could just picture him on that thing with the closed doors and the podcast playing inside. How cool is that? So,
with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth,
and his
cowboy hat on.
Just going at it. So, anyways, we are going to be doing the hands-on day one. Day two is going to be technical classes. We're going to be doing elevating. Mr. Terry Arco elevating pool care, which, by the way, Zach, what time do you land? I think you don't land till like 9 or 10, huh? Yours is a late flight.
If we land, how's that?
Where?
John.
Yeah.
Yours is a late flight, right?
If we land.
If you land,
it's my last flight. The way things have been going with airplanes too. I was gonna interrupt you and say this is the first time I've actually it crossed my mind when you said I'm flying in. I'm like, well, I hope I make it.
So yeah, that's because Zach has our feeds going crazy. He keeps talking about it in our feeds.
He has poisoned my Instagram feed, dude. He has 100% infiltrated my my Instagram feed. It is completely done a 180 into some weird stuff, bro.
it's funny because there was a little video where it was like they were recording, and I thought about you, John and Zach, and they were like all friends, and it was the 2 boyfriends and the 2 girlfriends, and they were recording that they had to pull up their Instagram feed and hit the search section to show what comes up on your feed, right? So of course the girls were like, "Oh, look how cute puppies!" and blah, blah.
And the guys
are like, no. So I was thinking about John when that one was coming up,
100%.
and then I clicked on mine, and it was all plane crashes. So I'm like, really, Zach? You're killing me.
Yeah.
So, anyways, day number 2 at the boot camp, we are going to be doing. Sorry, I got distracted. So we are going to be doing elevating pool care. We're going to be doing alternative sanitizers, ozone systems, the blueprint to balanced water, mastering algae prevention. We are going to be doing an electrical bonding and grounding class. And then track 2 is going to be for the business owners, and that is going to be business efficiency, master operational efficiencies for success. And then we are going to be doing the basic principles of leadership. And gentlemen, look at what I have here. I have the handout, baby.
Very pretty.
Ooh, Zach, you're gonna go nuts on this one. And then we are going to be doing understanding financials, business metrics, and the cost of your service. And then guess what we're doing? Driving results through accountability. Here's the handout for that one, baby. So we are ready to go. There's some practice exercises in here that we're going to do. It is going to be the first track under the new Pool Nation leadership program that we're putting together and business program. We are going to be issuing certificates of completion, and we are starting to work on those tracks for everybody for their different sections of their businesses. And then the last thing that we're going to do on that day, which is day 2, which is the 28th, we are going to be doing the qualifiers for the Pool Nation World Championships. And for those of you that are watching, check it out. It's so big. It's so big that I can't turn it sideways because you can't see it. I'd have to go way back to be able to see
That's
it.
awesome.
Look at that, baby.
It's even got the plastic. That's my favorite part of peeling that plastic off. That's the best feeling ever.
So,
do you ever go through like, should I leave it? Should I?
Yes, the funny thing is I was going to peel it off, and Leanne's all like, don't touch that, leave it alone. And I'm like, oh, so I guess I better leave it. So we are going to be doing that championship qualifiers there. So come on out. And then the next week we turn around and we head out to Oxnard. And I know that Zach is waiting to book his plane tickets, Zach, but mine are all booked. Hotels booked. I'm all set. Day 1 is going to be hands-on classes. Day 2, we are going to be doing some business courses out there. We are going to be doing operational efficiencies, ensuring financial security, unlocking profit and growth, and profit strategies. So if you guys want to go to poolnation.com, register there, come out, hang out. It'll be a great time to be able to kind of hang out with everybody. And Zach and John kick off our boot camp season.
Yes. I was just looking at Zach's face when you talked about him flying out to California. I know why he hasn't booked.
And I don't know. I'm waiting for my maps to say like, oh, the drive's only 6 hours.
I'm thinking more. What crossed my mind? I'm thinking Forrest Gump, and you kind of look like him if you think about it. Remember when he grew a beard? You've seen Forrest Gump, right? And he ran.
Wow.
You haven't seen Forrest Gump?
Wow.
I've seen it. I was a long time ago.
Running. But he's going to run from.
Okay, here's the challenge. Here's the challenge. I would like for somebody to do a little meme side by side of Forrest Gump running and Zach.
No, but Forrest Gump when he had his beard, right? Remember
right.
Yeah,
when he's running and he's got the beard, and then he just stops because he's
that's going to be
running.
Zach.
So, Hey, big shout out to Lacey Davis out there, which is online. Big shout out to you out there. So, gentlemen, let's kind of talk a little bit about what we wanted to talk about today. And, we're obviously having a conversation about the, tariffs. And, I kind of went and did a little bit of a research. So I want to talk about that. And obviously, the government is really rolling out some new rounds of tariffs for imported goods from China. Those are going, those are already into effect. Obviously, there's the talk about the Mexico and Canada, which they've rolled out, and then twice they have rolled back, but now there's threats that they're kind of coming back. But the ones for China are into effect. And, this really can have an impact on, goods. And they're saying that it could take 6 to 12 months to really kind of see the impact of it. But certain products and certain things specifically, you could see a very impactful price increase on them right now. On this, I'm talking general. I'm not talking about pool specific yet. Okay. But there are going to be some things, whether it's, metals or plastic or any of those, some products, even if they're not related into the pool industry, could see as much of a 20 to 50% increase in prices, right? Based on that material. And really they're expected to hit gradually, but they're saying that we'll see that throughout the rest of 2025 and into 2026. So
before we even get started, maybe we should get a little basic and maybe explain what a tariff is. So maybe some people don't understand it and exactly kind of clarify what it is, or no. So I'll do it. Okay. So
I was going to say, yeah, go ahead.
Here, let me just go ahead and just break it down so people can understand what exactly, and there is no misinterpretation of what it is. This is an opinion. This is exactly what a tariff is, right? It's a duty or a tax that is imposed by a country that the receiving, whoever is buying goods that they are importing from another country into their country, they are paying above and beyond the cost of it, whatever that is. And that money goes to the receiving country or to the country where the goods are coming in from. So essentially, it is increasing the cost of the products that you are purchasing from another country. So if I were to buy, say, a $10 item or an item that costs $7 and it costs me $10 landed or to be able to bring it in with shipping, VAT or whatever from one country over to this country, if there is a tariff attached to it, whatever that tariff is, let's just say it's 50% and it costs me $10 or whatever, I am paying an additional 50% on top of that. So instead of it costing me $10, it is costing me $15 for that item. And then in turn, now my cost for that item is $15 opposed to $10. So that's exactly what a tariff is. And it works both ways, right?
Yeah.
And I understand what the principle behind a tariff is we want to encourage or countries want to encourage buying from within, right? Keeping it within the family or keeping it within the country and be able to buy it from locally sourced items. But sometimes that's not feasible because we don't have the infrastructure available in order to do that.
Yeah, it's also used as a threat to obviously stick to trade agreements, right? But at the end of the day, we could have the debate, right? This is not a political.
This is not politics here. This is just money.
What we want to talk about is at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who pays it. It doesn't matter who does it. At the end of the day, what we're talking about, it's going to impact our pocket, right? Because someone's
paying for it, and I guarantee you it's not
for it. It's and so at the end of the day, it impacts the products that we buy, and as businesses, they have to pass it on because they're not gonna eat that cost. So let's talk a little bit about what some of the common or most common products are that are going to be impacted. So if we talk about the pool industry itself, and I'll go a little bit more into details in a little bit, but obviously it's going to be like plastics and it's going to be like metals. An example, imported chemicals for us will be an issue because some of those are such as chlorine, whether they're, different forms, algicide, shock treatments, they might be imported. So those could be affected. And then some of the other things that will be affected, it could be obviously like pumps and motors, heaters, heat pumps, LED lights, automation system, PVC fittings, because obviously plastic, some tools. And then, we obviously could see it with regards to, pool cleaners and robotic cleaners. So, when we start having this conversation, a lot of it goes back to, we were going through COVID and price increases all over the place, and everybody was having to kind of go back and look and do price increases. And those that didn't do the price increases, really felt it. And so a lot of the conversation today is really, how are you going to prepare yourself? Are you looking at your numbers? Are you preparing all this? I remember John and Zach, man, what was it? Podcast episode number 3 that we did, where we had Jared Schwab on, and he was talking about it, and even talked about, hey, go out and, there's going to be a shortage, load up, do all these things. So in this case, it doesn't look like there's going to be a shortage of products, but obviously your profitability is going to be impacted. So as a business, you need to look at those numbers. You need to look and make sure that you are prepared for that. So I want to do a little bit of a deep dive, and I'm not even sure we'll be able to get through all the things that we want to talk about, because we do have kind of a lot of questions, and we're going to change a little bit of the format of this podcast, because what I want to do is just throw a question out and have all 3 of us answer that and kind of give a little bit of a feedback. But let's get to the meat and the potatoes, right? Because we debated this, right? Like, what order do we talk about things? Do we talk about, products? Do we talk about inventory? Do we talk about, distributor communication, customer communication? And we all agreed right off the bat that the first thing that we needed to talk about is how it's going to impact your profit, how it's going to impact your number. So, let's talk about that. Let's talk about, obviously the impact that it's going to have on the profit if you're not adjusting those numbers, if you're not paying attention to what's coming ahead.
Well, I think what's important, and what I think the gist of what we're going to try to get at today, and hopefully if this message resonates with everybody and you heed the warning here, it's more of not so much in specifics, but just preparing yourself mentally, right? And preparing your business so that you're being proactive in the situation opposed to reactive, right? The last thing you want to do is get caught with your pants down, thinking that this isn't going to affect you, or it's not going to be an issue because you don't realize it now, right? It's not a mythical thing that could happen or whatever. Of course, things can happen. Politics are a messy subject, and, we go back and forth on certain things, and minds get changed and whatever. But the reality is the writing is on the wall here, and it's happening, and it's already coming into effect, and companies are already doing it. So if us as business owners aren't proactive and start to make these adjustments now, it is going to hurt financially if you're not prepared for it and you're not able to absorb these costs. And these are large amounts. We're not talking about like the average of inflation, 2, 3, 4% that might be going every year, that you can expect your dollar to be worth less next year than it is this year. And hopefully, we've talked about it 1,000 times, that we need to, as companies, adjust for that accordingly. Otherwise, what we're doing is we're essentially giving a discount, because that dollar doesn't hold as much weight next year as it did this year, and so on and so on and so on. But some of these sometimes go under the radar when you're talking 2% over a span of 12 months. You might not feel that until maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, and you're like, holy crap, you know what I mean? I'm still at these rates, and we're talking about everything we're talking about now. Groceries, the grocery store 5 years ago compared to today, a little bit different. Well, 5 years ago, COVID and things were gnarly, but prices weren't where they are now. But you don't necessarily feel it as much because it's a slow killing, right? It's a death by 1,000 cuts. But now if we're talking about, these increases of 15, 25%, that is substantial, right? And there is no company on this earth that is going to be able to absorb that, right? That full cost. Now, there might be some, manufacturers or people that are important and expecting, and they do billions of dollars of business or millions of dollars of business, and there's going to be a 15% increase in tariffs, and maybe the company might absorb a couple percentage of it by lowering their cost for whatever reason, but they are not going to absorb 25%. You just can't do it. Imagine taking 25% of profit off your business. What is he laughing at right now?
Oh, I love our peeps.
You got the
love
gump?
our peeps. I love our peeps. Look at that.
I told you. I told you, right?
Oh, big shout out to our boy Kevin from Pool Brain. He is the man, bro. You guys are identical.
Did I nail it?
You guys are identical. For everybody that is listening to this podcast later on. So Kevin from Pool Brain sent us a side-by-side of Tom Hanks in
I nailed it.
And Zach. Dude. So go to the YouTube and check it out.
I need a red hat and a white Nike shirt.
Dude, that is awesome.
It is
uncanny. So
yeah.
anyways, sorry, John. That was just hilarious.
That was well worth the interruption there. That was awesome.
And I agree with you, right? And those are the things that we have to look at. And look, let's be realistic. We deal with companies that are publicly traded in the pool industry now. It's mostly moving in that direction. You have to beat quarter expectations by quarter expectations. So there is a new norm that's in-house, and that is that you can expect 2 rate increases on prices every year, right? They're going to adjust. They're going to do the things that they need to do. So Zach, I wanted to ask you, because I know that you have kind of a little bit of a pattern, and you don't have to go into extreme details into how you do it, because, when we talk about these products that we are going to be quoting, I think one of the things that we tend to do as pool pros, and John, you can tell me if you do the same thing, but you always tend to go, oh, well, that pump costs, $1,600, right? And for 3 years in your head, you're calculating that pump costs $1,600, right? And then all of a sudden you look at it and they're almost $1,800, right? And you're like, holy crap, right? So Zach, what's a little bit of the process that you do when it comes to, tracking profits per job? Because I know you do quotes a little bit different. I know that you have a set amount of time that that it's going to do. But, for somebody that's out there listening, what are some of those things that they should look at?
Yeah, before I jump into that, I just want to say too that, when this feels like deja vu.
It really
all
does.
Over again. And when we were going through that, I had never been through anything like that to that point. And so it was like, yeah, the talk is there, but surely we're going to figure it out, and as a world or a country, and we're going to, it's kind of scary, but things will work itself out. And, Jared came on and was talking, get ready, get prepared. This is going to hurt. And I kind of lingered and waited, and then it was like it was on us, and then it was this mad scramble to have to move quickly to make sure that we were charging accordingly. And it's like, here we are again being faced with this. And the thing that, and this is all speculation or whatever you want to call it, but the thing that I'm kind of hung up on is it's like, the price increases are going to come, but if the tariffs end up changing or lessening, are the prices going to lessen back to normal with tariffs? And that didn't happen with COVID, right? The other thing too is not just products, but what other costs are inadvertently going to be affected when it comes to the overhead of running our businesses. And, whether it's vehicles or health insurance or just other things like that, electricity, building expenses, everything. And so I think it is something that we have to take very seriously and make sure that we are starting to really dig into the numbers and make sure that we are adjusting accordingly as this goes along. Now, as far as what our process is to kind of track and manage that, it may be a little archaic, but we have a a service software that gives us a per job margin on. So if I'm looking at a job as we've built the job, it will tell me. So we look at that point and say, whoa, this margin's really low, or it seems a little high compared to normal. What's going on here? And we can look at it. But additionally, it's hard to go into like every individual product and, look at it and do all that. So I do a lot of Excel work, and I like to export when looking at product margin. I like to export that into one Excel sheet, and then you can do your formulas and you get this like high level view of all of your items that you're selling and dealing with and kind of where your margins lie. And I can start to kind of see like, that seems really low. What's going on here? Let me look at this product individually. And then the kind of safety net that we have is, as Aubrey is ordering parts in our office, every time she's placing an order, she's checking the prices just to make sure we're still on track. Because it used to be 1 year, I could sit down and I could go through all our product costs, I could figure it all out, and then we would be good for a year. I mean, and then the next year comes around and it's so you get a 2 to 3% increase on something. Like, okay, it's time to dig in and look at this again. But this is changing, and I don't know that it's ever stopped. A lot of times I don't even know sometimes when we've been hit with an increase, but we're catching it at that point where Aubrey is ordering an item and she's looking at item A and she's going, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's like $70 more than what we have in our system. So then at that moment, we correct it in the system, and then we have to adjust our price accordingly at that moment so that we're not, and it has happened. It has happened where we've got expensive item that we're selling all these jobs, and then all of a sudden it's like, wait, that's like $120 more than what it was. And then it's like, how many times have we sold this in the last 6 months at losing that $120? So it's a frustrating time for small business owners, because I only know, the late 2012 to 2020, it was a pretty straightforward process and it was pretty easy to manage. But anymore, it's just a way of doing business now for a small business that you have to be constantly on top of this stuff and monitoring it.
And John, I was talking about it, but obviously, even the one pollers, you can't take your eye off the prize and just think, oh, that's the price, and just stick it into the back of your head and just think that it's not going to go up, because it'll have a 30, 40, 50, 60, $70 jump, and you're still quoting at those old prices. Now the interesting thing, and it's funny because I was talking about this yesterday with somebody, and we talk about the fail-safe things that you can put into place, and we're starting to see the industry kind of catch up and the technology catch up. So we were talking specifically, you talk about PoolBrain, right? And now PoolBrain has that integration with Heritage, to where what you're able to do is you're able to put a percentage, right, on that markup. And what the system does is it goes every night and it checks your prices every single night, and it updates your price structure. So if you already have that number set, when that new number gets imported, it's automatically going to change the price for it. So when you go out there giving quotes, you're going to have that automatically updated price. And it does it the same thing with chemicals and all that kind of stuff, so that you can kind of see the cost. But the point is, for all the pool pros out there and all the companies, you have to stay on top of this, man. You don't stay on top of this, and this is where what John's talking about, the 3% creeps up here and the 7% creeps up there, and then you get all these price increases, and you're not catching up. And let's be realistic, the challenge is you have to know your numbers. And if you don't know your numbers and you're not looking at your numbers, you're guessing. And if you're guessing, you're driving blind, right? And if you're driving blind, you're not going to go to where it is that you think that you're going. So I know that I talk about it all the time and everybody gets sick of it, but bro, girls, you don't know your numbers. You don't know your numbers. You don't know where you are. It's like Zach says, you're driving that airplane without all these gauges. It's like, where are you going?
Yeah, look, and these numbers are very significant too, because you might think you know, if you got like, and I'm just throwing out numbers here, but you might think you got a $10,000 deal and you're talking about, you know, the difference is maybe a $500 difference in price. Well, 500 on 10,000. Yeah. Okay. Might not be that big of a you know, okay, a screw up, but it's not off the top. It's off the bottom, guys.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, you're not making $10,000 profit on that deal, right? You know, whatever your profit margins are, you're taking $500 away from the profit margin, you know, and if your profit's at 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, whatever it is, that's a much bigger number. You know, you're literally doubling or tripling, you know, the impact that it has because it's coming out of your pocket.
Yep.
Right. These numbers. And when we're throwing around $70 more on a pump, or, you know, or $100 more on a heater, or whatever, you know, that's when you think of it like, oh, okay, well, the heater's these many thousands, and I don't like getting into specific dollar amounts, but, you know, when you're looking at how much you're taking home and putting into the bank, you know, and then on top of that, the taxes, right? You know, so it is very significant and it's very important. And I think what's really different about this for us, and to tag along at what Zach started out with, what he touched on was, you know, we've grown resilient or numb maybe, or we've become jaded, or however you want to, whatever the word is for it, you know, these every quarter or every, you know, semi-annually, or we get the letters, Pentair is increasing X amount, you know, Haas is increasing X amount, you know, Hayward's going up so much, you know, Jandy's going up so much, and that is just a part of doing business. And we've talked about this, and we need to build that into our costs, right? We have to, you know, build our numbers based off of that. And you can get a history, and you can get a pretty good understanding and expectation of what you need to charge, right, to be able to foresee these increases and be ahead of them, you know, throughout the year when you're quoting. And we spoke about that. When COVID hit, we got hit with instead of it happening twice a year or whatever, or once a year, or whatever the increments were, they were happening felt like every month we were getting nailed with the new one and a new one and a new one. And we got put in a position to where, wow, we couldn't even really adjust to these, right? And we had to do something drastic in order to, you know, to be able to maintain. Well, this time around, you know, especially with products, and it's really simple to say, hey, look, before you get comfortable with what you think the cost of something is when you're quoting it, take a second. And, you know, I would always go out, and I've changed myself, and I'm pretty good with numbers. And when I'm weird, when I see something, I'll see a number and I'll be able to memorize it. I can't memorize a phone number for the life of me, right? You know what I mean? Or you read off just a couple numbers to me and whatever, and I'll be with Janie, and it's like, I look here. When did I get my new number, Edgar? I got my new number, I don't know, about 5-6 months ago. And I think I said this, I still don't remember my phone number. I don't. For some reason, I got a brain block. But
he only remembers money.
But no, if I'm reading a P&L, or if I'm reading stats or statistics or something like that, those numbers next year I can remember exactly what those numbers were.
You should see our phone calls. Right. John, I got this number. What's the percentage of that? He's like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you're quicker than my calculator. I don't need to bust out the calculator.
I can do that, right? And then so when I look at a number, I'll know exactly what a pump costs me or what a heater costs me, and I know what I'm quoting when I'm out there. And then only thing I have my baseline for everything, whatever it may be. And then when I go out, based on the pad, based on the location, based on if I have to become a contortionist in order to do it, you know, if I have to raise elevation, lower elevation, how much plumbing's involved, unions, whatever, I go accordingly, right? But now, and I'd be able to spit out a number and do it right there on site. Now I've gotten to a habit where I'm like, hang on, give me a second. I'll shoot you a number later. You know what I mean? Yeah. I need to look at it, right? Because I got, and times have changed and those prices do increase. I remember there was one time a few years ago with heaters, all of a sudden I went from the heater pricing just went through the roof, crazy, right? Yep. And I remember I was quoting a heater at something like that, and I looked at it, I was like, well, when did I start spending $600 more on a heater? At what point
Yeah.
Did it go up $600 more or whatever it was?
But you do what we normally do. You and your brain is still that price from 3 years ago, and you still
and I
put on.
learned a hard lesson for sure.
You can't do that. You can't do
So
that.
what I was getting at was, when it comes down to product pricing, it's not as impactful when people tell me, "Oh, you believe Pentair is raising their prices again?" I go, "Yeah, okay, I get it, but that's on a quote by quote basis, right? And it's not." When I go out now and I sell a pump and they went up at 3%, my price is at least going up 3% or 4% or 5% or whatever it is, and I'm comfortable with that because I'm not losing in on the at the end. I might have to fight or compete against the other guys or the other gals that aren't adjusting accordingly, right? Or still believe that
Their
price
$600 less.
Yeah, exactly. But that's a whole nother beast, and I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah.
But these increases that are coming up are going to affect us as a whole, right? And this is going to affect every part of our operation.
Yeah, chemicals are going to be affected.
Yeah, chemicals, the plastics, our trucks that we're buying, and the service cost to service them, right? Tires, we're talking about every expense that is associated with running a business pretty much is not going to go untouched, and so as a whole, if we start looking at 10, 15, 25% adjustments, you have to make up for that somewhere, right? And the only place we can really make up for it is when it comes down to our reoccurring service. How else are you really going to do that?
Yeah, there's no other way. There's no other way. You have to.
That's a tough pill to swallow, and then being able to convey that increase, right? It's hard enough sometimes to say, "Hey, yeah, we're raising your price $10 a month or $5 a month or 25, whatever." But when we start getting into some big significant increases, right? There's going to be some pushback, I would imagine, but being prepared for that and knowing, how to go about it and how to do it gracefully is I think is what's going to help eliminate some of the pain points that you might face.
And this time, oh, sorry, go ahead, Zach.
I was just going to say, I think David made a comment here, and this is going to be an interesting time because I think our customers have been kind of battered for the last few years with these things. And so it's like, once again, but the only thing I could hope for is that, this is a widely known thing. This isn't just the pool industry going after our customers and saying, "Hey, due to tariffs and price increases, we're having to adjust price." This is across the board in a lot of different industries, but I think people in general, the vibe may be that everyone's just a little bit tired of it. So
here's my concern, and that is that obviously when we were going through COVID, there's all this demand and prices are being increased and stuff like that. But the economy was doing well, right? Like people were spending money, people were building pools. Interest rates were low, and we have to understand that we're a consumer-based economy, right? We're not a manufacturer economy. We're a consumer-based economy. So we're starting to see a little bit of the consumer confidence start to drop. And that's when people start to watch their dollars and all those things. And then when we have to have the conversation with them of, hey, there's all this tariffs that are going up and therefore prices are increasing. But if the consumer confidence is down, there's going to be a lot more pushback than we had during the COVID years. Because in the COVID years, you just raise rates and everybody was like, well, it's happening everywhere. It's okay. But guess what? When consumer confidence is down, it's a whole different ballpark that we have to deal with. So we need to take a break, but I do have to tell everybody, and I'm going to go back to the same thing. You have got to know your numbers. You have got to know exactly what your profit percentage is, not just on the repair, not just on the service, but on your entire business. And there's really only one way to do that. And that is that you have to sit down, you have to create a chart of accounts, you have to track things properly. You have to do a lot of work behind the scenes in order to do that, or hire somebody to do that. And then you have to be able to figure out how you're mathematically going to get there so that you know exactly where you are, right? So, for all of you that are part of the business matrix that are coming out next week, That's the part of the journey that we're in, right? We're going to introduce that chart of accounts to everybody, and everybody over the next 2 or 3 months is going to have to do a lot of work. But that's exactly what we're getting at, is when they get to that next class, they're going to plug all those numbers into that software that we've created, and it's going to give them, right? Here's your cost per pool. Here's your profit per pool, your cost per pool. Here is your repairs. Here's your profit percentage per repair, right? So that you can kind of get that. So I don't care whether you're on the matrix or you're not on the matrix or any of that. Every business out there, figure out your system and get onto it now, because this is definitely going to impact your business. Gentlemen, we've been talking for 55 minutes. Let's take a quick break from our sponsors. When we come back, maybe we answer 1 or 2 more questions. We'll have to, spread this out into another podcast, but we will be right back.
The Hyper Pole from Ultimate Pool Tools is a pool care pole designed by pool professionals for pool professionals, featuring precision-crafted carbon fiber and stainless steel construction. Go to ultimatepooltools.com or Instagram at Ultimate Pool Tools. Pool pros have specific needs when it comes to general liability insurance. The SPPA program has you covered. With 3 tailored and customizable general liability options, SPPA makes it easy for pool pros to feel secure. Find out more and get covered at thesppa.com. Now available, Pool Invoice. Pool Invoice is a pool billing software created specifically for the pool service and repair industry. It's developed for our industry and only our industry. Pool Invoice is built with recurring billing in mind. You can print, email, text invoices, or even send via WhatsApp. You can add recurring or yearly charges, accept credits, and set up autopay. You can even see when customers have seen the invoice. It even has a customer portal where they can log in and see, print, and pay invoices. It has all your customers' information on one page, so you don't need to search through hundreds of invoices looking for the one you need. Just go to the customer profile and it's all at your fingertips. Created specifically for the pool industry, Pool Invoice. Now available at poolinvoice.com. Blu-ray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blu-ray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blu-ray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at BluRayXL.com.
Blu-ray all day.
Aquastar's new pipeline cartridge filters, available in 2 sizes, deliver top-notch hydraulic efficiency along with best-in-class filtration performance, approaching that of DE filters. Uniquely designed, open pleat spacing means 100% of the media square footage is usable. And these claims are backed by NSF test results. Designed with the pro's time and comfort in mind, the patented double locking system improves safety and ease of access, making filter cleaners faster than ever before. Available now. Ask your supplier for pipeline filters today.
Natural Chemistry, a leader in specialty water care solutions for over 30 years, is proud to provide products that make pool service easier than ever before. Its unique enzyme formulations in Pro Series Pro Blend improve efficiency of your pool program while reducing frequency of filter cleaning and scum lines. Natural Chemistry is also well known for its wide variety of phosphate removal solutions that include a non-clouding formula in Phos-Free and extremely high range removal with Pro Series Phos Remove or Phos Free Max. Save time, save money, save work with Pro Series products. Stop sacrificing durability or efficiency with the help of Raypak's new Avia HD models that utilize NITEC, their exclusive industry-first technology. NITEC heat exchanger technology is Raypak's latest solution to superior strength and maximum efficiency when it comes to residential pool heating. With 900% more nickel compared to copper nickel in critical surfaces, NITEC creates an ideal surface to protect against scale formation and erosion without compromising on Avia's 84% thermal efficiency. Learn more at raypak.com/NITEC. The next evolution in lighting is here. Universal Color Logic 2.0 from Hayward. The latest in pool and spa lighting was designed with you in mind, making installation a breeze. Upgrades include a detachable cord and first-of-a-kind adjustable lower catch to overcome variations in plaster thickness. As always, Universal Color Logic lights retrofit into virtually any in-ground pool or spa while delivering industry-leading, vibrant color. Visit Hayward.com to discover more.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Pool Nation Live podcast. We're over here, and when I talk about live, I'm talking about live, and I am getting live updates from Corey out there. Are you guys seeing those? No, John, you're not on the message thread, John?
I don't know. Am I? Hold on.
It's via text. Hold on. Let me see. Yeah. You're on there. You're on there.
I see it.
So, Corey's living my dream.
Oh yeah. For everybody listening, we're talking over here, but Corey's out working on his property out there. And we got some pictures. Damn, dude, look at that picture. What is it? 1, 2, look at that fourth picture with the water, the lake filled up.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, we are going to have to go pay a visit, right? Like what we should do is we should get a big, huge crew. Hey, you know what? Let's get the whole Matrix and we can go stay at his house.
I still can't get over that right there. Dude.
Oh, love it. Love it. Love it.
Awesome,
love it.
dude.
So
that's what I'm going for. So
well, hey, you're looking like it. The question is, can you sub in and be in one of the movies and get that paycheck? Here's John and Mai's dream at this stage, and that is that you go out there and you become a millionaire for us, so we could just all retire. Right,
I'm working on it.
Dude, millionaire. We just talked about this. That's not enough, bro.
I can't break any of that off.
Millionaire is nothing anymore.
If we could get 99 million, then we'll be okay.
Dude, I want to be rich enough that I can walk around in my pajamas everywhere I go. You know what I mean? I just want to be in my pajamas.
You want to be that guy, right? Wear gray shirts every day. Just no brand.
Dude, Adam Sandler is my hero, dude. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Hey, big shout out to Kevin out here. Know your numbers in all caps. 100%. And then Johnny is saying Kevin Embry 100% a must. And then John, what is this? Is this Cheney? I'm on the bat phone, babe.
It's on the bat phone. The text.
Oh, it's on the bat phone.
Oh, it's on the bat phone. Gotcha. She throw me for a little curve there. Had me a little bit confused. So anyways, as we continue and we come back, I'm going to 100% just double down on what Kevin is talking about. And that is that you have to know your numbers. You have to get to it. So it's funny because I did get, no one wants to see that,
Friday.
John.
It's DC Friday. It's usually Marvel Mondays.
Wait. Who said it's DC Friday?
I said it's Marvel Mondays usually we have, and then Friday we play DC. So she's already starting early, dude. We usually don't kick things off until after the podcast, but I guess she's
no. Let's go. So poor Zach. Look at Zach. He's dying over there. If he was in person, he'd be red, John. Look, he's already a little bit red on the cheeks. Good Lord, Zach.
What she was saying was I'm on the bat phone because the thread was going to the bat phone, right?
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, so I wasn't on it. So that's why she was saying that all the pictures and stuff are coming to the bat phone.
Yeah, I can hear her laughing in the background.
Right.
We helped you out there, John.
Oh, I couldn't show that picture. Hold on.
Yeah, no way. Let's keep this clean. This is a family show, please. So anyway, so let's keep having a conversation. Obviously, we're kind of getting to the end of the podcast. We'll have to break this one up, but I really want to close on the profitability standpoint with regards to that. And I had two questions that were there. And, obviously, what would you say to a pool pro that doesn't track those job costs, right? and they think that they're doing fine, because I think that's one of the things that we tend to think, oh, we're doing fine, right? And Zach, we always joke around this, and I know that you do it to poke me and kind of, irk a little bit, but like right when we're talking and you're like, well, I'm going to guess that it's around this, right? And we joke around that we're going to make a shirt for you that says I'm a great guesser. Yeah, good guesser, right? But what would you say to that pool pro that still isn't tracking those jobs? John, Zach, either one.
I mean, I think it's a common and easy thing to kind of fall into, because he gets busy. Especially like right now, we're having better weather, the calls are coming in, the phone's ringing, you just get moving, and you're out there selling jobs, doing work, collecting money. But we've talked about it numerous times that it's that cash flow that can ultimately cause you a lot of headaches, because while everything looks good on the surface, if you actually sat down and put pen to paper and looked at that P&L and kind of went through it, you might find that things are not as good as you're guessing they are. So I think it's a very scary way to operate, in that it is, even when things feel like they're really good, I'm honestly, that's where I get a little leery, and that's where I really want to dig in and make sure that what I'm seeing, what I'm feeling is in fact the reality. So it'll catch up to you at the end of the day. So it's super important that you sit down and you dig into these things. And especially right now, like the impacts haven't really started, and you don't want to be in a position, you want to be preparing for that. You don't want to be in the position where 6 months, 8 months down the road, all of a sudden it's like, whoa, 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 what's going on? The bank account's dwindling. And it's a lot harder to, stop that after the fact. So make sure you're preparing.
Yeah. The last thing that you want to do is, look at it at the end when you're looking in the rear view mirror, right? And everything's in the past. That's when you're done, right? And we've seen it. We've seen a lot of businesses after COVID, and when things kind of went back to normal, whether they were overstaffed and overstaffed for too long, and it just ate away, at their cash flow, and it ate away at their profits, and they just had to fold and close, to, other companies just really not knowing their profitability and where they were. And, as things kind of went back to what we call our normal, had to shut the doors and just kind of sell their business and some stuff like that. So this is a dangerous spot. John, you did the thumbs up, and I thought you did the, how on Instagram, like you go like that, and Instagram does that little bubble thing with the thumbs up. That's what I thought you were doing, to see if the bubble would go up.
No.
So, what are your thoughts, John? I mean, I know you could probably say ditto, but
yeah, I keep getting back to and thinking about, is what you said. And I think you brought up a very, very good point, and is what is different this time around than before. We've grown accustomed to these price changes and stuff, and being able to, hopefully, we're at that point where we're doing it. For those of you, to answer the question before that, to the guys out there that are just guessing and kind of flying by the seat of their pants and kind of, just doing whatever, you can only maintain that for so long. It's going to hurt, right? And it'll catch up to you at some point. And usually when it does, it's unfortunately too late for most, when you get to that point, and you're scrambling, and you start doing desperate things and or whatever it may be. But what I want to really talk about is what you said, Edgar, when it comes down to, back in the COVID times when prices were going up, it was a free for all, man. It was a supply and demand, right? We were flying under the protection of the essential worker. We were out there, working without worry that we weren't going to have a job, or we had to be we had to stay at home. People were appreciating and realizing their backyards, and the term staycation, right, really came into play. And we kind of went back a generation where, when we were kids and everybody kind of grew up in the swimming pool and kind of did things like that. And we kind of got lost from that as technology advanced and people were video gaming and doing other things and going off to vacation to here and there or whatever. And they were kind of neglecting their backyard and not really appreciating it, where COVID kind of turned things around a little bit for us. Right. And allowed people to truly appreciate, home life. And they invested a lot of money into their backyards. One, because the economy was great. We had an amazing growth in economy. Interest rates were very low. Money was dirt cheap. It was like criminal, how you were able to borrow money for so cheap, and people were spending like they were newly minted millionaires, and you could throw prices out there and people were like, I don't care. I just want it done. And it's a matter of, if you can get it done sooner, or if you can get it done now, or I just want what I want, my dream, make it realize my dream. And if you can get it done faster than the next guy, then I'm willing to pay you whatever it is. Yeah. Where now, right, these increases are happening, and the economy is not doing so well. And look, again, this isn't about politics. Let's just be honest, right? We are in a little rough patch, but this happens. You can only go up for so much as well, right? Look, economy, we had I think 75 months of straight growth, and unemployment was at the lowest rate ever, right? Things happen. You know what I mean? And then you throw into the mix, a bombshell like, these tariffs that are happening, it shakes some things up. And people now are, and I just had this conversation this morning with the customer, and it was like, wow, here I go. But again, this guy's a little one of those as well, but and I flat out told him, I go, look, dude, I go, that's what the cost is. I'm not going to sit and start talking about, this is ridiculous. You have a water feature pump that needs to be replaced. You want to find the cheapest option in order to do it. We just it's a single speed. I'm going to put in a variable speed. We can put a variable speed pump in, or we can go with this option or this option or that option. And then I give him the cost for it. And he's like, oh, would you try to find this one a little bit cheaper? And I'm like, bro, he's like, how about if I order one from here? Are they going to ship it to me? I go, well, you can order it, but who's going to put it in? Yeah. I go, I'm not putting it in. You know what I mean? I go, if you want to go ahead and do it, go ahead and do it. So anyways, I found a V green motor, right? You know what I mean? That we're going to be able to put in on the back of this Whisper Flow. And I gave him a quote, and I gave him a price, and I told him, I go, this is what it's going to cost out the door installed, right, ready to rock and roll. And I get a call immediately from him, right?
And that's going to be normal, John, now.
Yeah, and I'm talking, and I'm like, all right, David, da 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 da, and he's like, yeah, he's like, okay, so it's for the Century, the V Green, da 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 da, whatever. And I go, yes, and he's like, how many horsepower? I'm at 1.3, you know what I mean, da 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 da, and then he's like, he's all, does that include the seal plate and the seals and the and I'm like, bro, you know what I mean? And I'm like, hold on. He's all, I'm like, okay. I go, look, we don't put out a motor. We don't replace a motor unless we replace the pump seal, right? We'll replace, gasket, O-rings, everything that needs to be done. I'm not going to replace the seal plate unless it's warped or something's wrong with it or corroded, but I have no evidence of that because it's not leaking and it looks just fine. You know what I mean? Right. But if I do have to replace it, that will cost you more money. Extra. You know what I mean? It's not going to be included, right? Yeah. But I'm not including it because I don't feel like we're going to need to do it. Mm-hmm. And he's like, are you going to change out the impeller? And I go, why? You know what I mean? I go, it's fine. You know what I mean? I go, but that's not included. And then he's okay. I'm trying. And I go, hold on. I go, and I told him, I go, what are you trying to do here, David? I go, he's all, I'm just trying to figure out exactly what the cost is. And I go, look, the cost is this amount of money for me to put this pump in. And that includes all material, right? Electrical, everything that I need to get done to put it in, right? You know what I mean? Or the cost is nothing, right? For me not to do it. You know what I mean? And I flat out told him, and he's all, okay. He's all, well, let's go ahead and schedule it and get it done. Yeah. But it's like,
but you are going to get that, John, because of the times and because of the consumer confidence. We're going to go back to those days where people are a lot more conscious and are going to be, it's a totally different shift from, can you do it? When can you do it? Can you do it tomorrow? I don't care what price it is, do it, to, hey, can we, what are the solutions? And I really need to find out if there's any other costs that are going to incur. And can you find it cheaper? Remember the days I've shared the stories is like, can you get me the same price, the same quality product, but cheaper, right? Because times are going to change. And Pool Pros, that's what we're headed to. The consumers are going to be a lot more conscious about their buying, and there's going to be a lot more questions, and there's going to be a lot more shopping and a lot more pushback just because of that consumer confidence.
It is. And look, I want to put something out here. And what I want to stress out here is I get it, right? And I think people should not be drunk with their money. We're preaching that as businesses to be smart with your money. I think as consumers, you need to be smart with your money as well, right? There's nothing wrong with that, And I think but what's important is that you need to mentally prepare yourself for this. But what's paramount is that you don't back down, okay? Because customers, you need to arm yourself and understand that it won't work for you as a business, right? To have prices increase, right? And consumers being more nosy or being more frugal and questioning, right? And then you feeling that you have to decrease in order to compete, right? And then so to absorb a price increase and then or to even go back or cut back your profit margins simply to be able to, that's a no-no, right? And it's a recipe for disaster, right? And absolutely. It creates an issue, industry wide, and it hurts your fellow pool guy or gal across the street as well. And it becomes the race to the bottom, or who's the cream of the crap. You know what I mean? And that is, and like I said, that's a recipe for disaster. And we do not want to go back to that.
And I think we've talked about it. We have to get back to selling the value of what we're doing. And, David just commented here, the businesses that survive this will be so much stronger for it. And I think that's the cold hard truth is the people that survive are the ones that learn about the products, all the details about it, how it benefits the customer. Because when we do a job, we're doing something that is benefiting the customer in some way. And I think it's just our job that now, like John was just mentioning, it was like, just cut it out and replace it all. You're like, hey, your pump has a seal leak. And they're like, just cut out the whole pad and we're going to drop, and you're like, okay, cool. Don't even send me an estimate, just bill me, and it was like that easy. So I think that the people that know their numbers, that know their products, that know their services, that educate the customer on the value, because it's not about ripping people off. And I think that's where a lot of the confidence in your pricing, it fails, because you don't truly understand that, like, no, this is what we have to charge based on our business's need, based on our staffing, based on our benefits plans, based on what we're doing as a company. And that's going to vary from company to company. But it's important that you know that, so that when you go out on that job and you are presenting the customer with a price, that price is based on what it needs to be. And then you have to be educated enough that when you are faced with those questions from the customer, that you can then answer those questions, educate them, and educate them on the value of what it is that you're doing for them and what they're receiving.
Absolutely. Gentlemen, let's get our final words from our can't speak. Final words from our sponsors when we come back. Mr. Zacharias, John, want to get your final thoughts? We'll be right back.
The Hyper Pole from Ultimate Pool Tools is a pool care pole designed by pool professionals for pool professionals, featuring precision crafted carbon fiber and stainless steel construction. Go to ultimatepooltools.com or Instagram at Ultimate Pool Tools. Pool pros have specific needs when it comes to general liability insurance. The SPPA program has you covered. With 3 tailored and customizable general liability options, SPPA makes it easy for pool pros to feel secure. Find out more and get covered at thesppa.com. Now available, Pool Invoice. Pool Invoice is a pool billing software created specifically for the pool service and repair industry. It's developed for our industry and only our industry. Pool Invoice is built with recurring billing in mind. You can print, email, text invoices, or even send via WhatsApp. You can add reoccurring or yearly charges, accept credits, and set up autopay. You can even see when customers have seen the invoice. It even has a customer portal where they can log in and see, print, and pay invoices. It has all your customers' information on one page, so you don't need to search through hundreds of invoices looking for the one you need. Just go to the customer profile and it's all at your fingertips. Created specifically for the pool industry, Pool Invoice. Now available at poolinvoice.com. Blu-ray XL is the power of minerals working for you. Reduce your overall chemical costs and labor up to 50% guaranteed. Whether you have 20 accounts or 20,000, Blu-ray XL's direct pricing and free shipping to the pool trade have you covered. Improving pool professionals' profit and work-life balance is what they do. Blu-ray XL, the real mineral purifier. Visit them at BluRayXL.com.
Blu-ray all day.
Aquastar's new pipeline cartridge filters, available in 2 sizes, deliver top-notch hydraulic efficiency along with best-in-class filtration performance, approaching that of DE filters. Uniquely designed, open pleat spacing means 100% of the media square footage is usable. And these claims are backed by NSF test results. Designed with the pro's time and comfort in mind, the patented double locking system improves safety and ease of access, making filter cleaners faster than ever before. Available now. Ask your supplier for pipeline filters today.
Natural Chemistry, a leader in specialty water care solutions for over 30 years, is proud to provide products that make pool service easier than ever before. Its unique enzyme formulations in Pro Series Pro Blend improve efficiency of your pool program while reducing frequency of filter cleaning and scum lines. Natural Chemistry is also well known for its wide variety of phosphate removal solutions that include a non-clouding formula in Phos-Free and extremely high-range removal with Pro Series Phos Remove or Phos-Free Max. Save time, save money, save work with Pro Series products. Stop sacrificing durability or efficiency with the help of Raypak's new Avia HD models that utilize NITEC, their exclusive industry-first technology. NITEC heat exchanger technology is Raypak's latest solution to superior strength and maximum efficiency when it comes to residential pool heating. With 900% more nickel compared to copper nickel in critical surfaces, NITEC creates an ideal surface to protect against scale formation and erosion without compromising on Avia's 84% thermal efficiency. Learn more at raypak.com/NITEC. The next evolution in lighting is here. Universal Color Logic 2.0 from Hayward. The latest in pool and spa lighting was designed with you in mind, making installation a breeze. Upgrades include a detachable cord and first-of-a-kind adjustable lower catch to overcome variations in plaster thickness. As always, Universal Color Logic lights retrofit into virtually any in-ground pool or spa while delivering industry-leading, vibrant color. Visit Hayward.com to discover more.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Pool Nation Live podcast, which, by the way, I was getting a text on there going, let's see here. You dancing around on the screen is cracking me up. So
Oh, John never dances.
John, so Zach and I were into it. God knows what he was doing out there. So, hey, do want to give a shout out to Corey Holland. Know your value. I'd rather do less work and charge a little higher rate. Talk about that VIP service, baby. And then we have to give a big, huge shout out to Maria from Ensenada Pools because we're bad at it. And she said, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about right there. So, Mr. Zacharias, let me get some final thoughts.
So I think the point is not to like instill fear, definitely not, but more so to raise awareness. And we're already starting to see some notifications about different things that will be going up. So we know that something is coming in one way or another. And I've talked about this before, and I preach this to my team all the time. In fact, I put a banner on the wall in the warehouse that says, don't wait for opportunity, prepare for it. And I think that, times of turbulence or a shakeup or whatever you want to call it, they're not fun. But it's where the winners get shaken up. I mean, if we think about it, if we're always on the up, 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 I mean, yes, rising tide lifts all ships, but it kind of locks you into a position to where it's harder, I guess, to take the lead position. And if you really take this time and you prepare and you look at it and you dig into your numbers and you start looking at things that you can work on, and I think it's going to be really important to find ways to differentiate yourself from the competition. But I think this is also a time where you can expand your market share and you can actually grow through this. And for us, just to give you an example, some of the things that we have sat down and we said, okay, for 2025, here's what we're working on. And like the big one for me is customer experience. I've talked to you, Edgar, about this, I think, and it's what can we do better to give our customers a better customer experience? And I mean, is digging as far down as to like the phone conversations, the tone, the way we talk to our customers, and everything else. We're working on trimming some of those unnecessary expenses, getting more organized on that front. Things like, can you get to the customer faster? I mean, that was one of the things John was talking about in COVID. It was like the fastest to the job was going to get the job. Well, there's value in that, right? If we can get out there tomorrow, Mr. or Mrs. Jones, and we'll get you back up and running, that may be the difference that closes the job for you versus someone else. And then educating your customers more. I know this is kind of a thing that a lot of people are on the fence of like, well, if we provide them with too much information. I've kind of learned that like no matter how much information I provide my customers with, it's like they're not going to go pick up a pole and a net and a vacuum and go out there and then fire me because I have now given them the secret sauce to maintaining their pool. In fact, it actually builds more trust with them because now we've kind of become the authority on it and we are willing to educate them on those things. So those are just some examples of some of the things we're working on in preparation for. We want to be really dialed in as a company so that if the turbulence starts happening, we'll stand out amongst the competition. Yeah,
100%. Hey, before I throw it over to John, I do want to say our boy Corey just keeps sending these videos now. He's got a full batting cage out in his Zach. Check it out. Yeah,
like
he's building a theme park. So here's my challenge to Corey. Can you build some property there with a whole bunch of hotel rooms, and we could do a matrix training down there at his thing with the light and the batting cage and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, hey, Lacey Davis, refinement is hard and not fun, but it shapes your future. Absolutely. So
100%.
Mr. JJ Flawless, man, look at his lighting, how legit it is. And I think he really took this whole beard thing seriously, because look at how he like is in and just enough for the camera to really focus on that beard. So final thoughts. And you're just going to sit there and just show everybody the beard.
Yeah, I'm just let you guys soak that in real quick
from the side. I keep saying this though. Have you seen Santa Claus beard? I really would like to see you make your beard white for Christmas, like the whole thing just white.
I thought we were friends, bro.
Dude, you have like you have that full Santa Claus beard, like the shape and it's solid and it's.
John would be like Bad Santa.
Who knows?
You would be Bad Santa. You would be Bad Santa. So I do have flawless lighting. Yes, yep. Flawless lighting. And then if a customer asks why our costs are higher than online, we order, purchase, deliver, install, register for warranty, etc. 100% Ashley.
Yeah. And the good thing is a lot of manufacturers too on that point too, you can put they won't extend a warranty, or they won't offer a warranty on stuff like that. Yeah. Right. On the DIYers, all these products are dangerous if installed incorrectly, right? or while you're installing, when you're dealing with high voltage electricity, etc., and whatever, and plumbing and pressure. There's a whole bunch of liability involved in that too. So, it's a good point when it comes down to the internet folk, but that doesn't seem, at least for us, to be as big of a deal lately, but it might become more of a issue now with what we're talking about, as far as, people pinching their pennies a little bit more. No pun intended on that, or pun intended. But my final thoughts are, here we are again. It's funny, and I talk about this to pretty much anybody I talk shop with their business, and this is just another phase, right? And this is, you can maybe with a different name on it or different circumstances, but again, just like everything in our economy and our life and the business life cycle, we have our ups, we have our downs, we have our rocky roads, we have our straightaways, and where it feels like everything's running great and perfect. And I think Zach made a really important point when you said, when everything is going well, is when you get a little uneasy, right? Because history proves itself that it's never going to be smooth coasting, and those that do their due diligence and are proactive in their approach when it comes to business are going to be the ones that will thrive during times like this, and will survive through it all, and will be one of the last businesses, or one of the businesses standing when all the dust settles. I don't want anybody to take this as a doom and gloom type thing, right? This is just business. And us as businessmen and women, we need to do what we have to in order to prepare ourselves so that we can safeguard what we've built and protect our families and our future. Be confident in your abilities and what you do. And if that is the reason why you feel hesitant to raise your prices or whatever, find what is keeping you from doing these things or making these changes, and deal with them. And if it's confidence in your ability, then get better at what you do. If it's not understanding, or your lack of business acumen, then get educated when it comes down to that, whatever it is. But buckle up, boys and girls, right? This is going to be a fun ride. I can't wait for us to, in the next year or 2 or 3 years, revisiting this and then talking about the next uptrend or next downtrend or whatever it is. But I promise you it will happen. But I'm not too concerned.
And our industry is a resilient, right? It's kind of recession proof, right? It's pools have to be serviced, pools have to be done. So we're not talking about a doom and gloom. We're talking, just like John is saying, about business and just making sure that you know your numbers, making sure that you know where you need to be so that you can thrive and you can, definitely succeed. So, gentlemen, believe it or not, we will be together next week. We'll be hanging out again. You both didn't. You just don't sound as eager as I do.
Hold on, I'm ready.
Start running. Come on, Hank.
Well, this one is a drive.
The following week.
Time to run. Well, no, you need to run now in order to get there, bro.
Yeah, Zach, I will tell you this. I know that you're not booking the ticket because your flight thing. But what happens as you get closer to the date, the more expensive your plane ticket is going to be. It's revenue management 101. Let me tell you a specific example of what happened to me. So when I go out to California on Saturday, I'm going to go stay over by the Burbank airport because I'm going to do a jump and go visit Sienna and Phoenix. And then from Phoenix, I'm going to fly back home. So I looked up the hotel that was right across the street from the airport so I could just walk over if I wanted to. And I looked at it and it was $228. And I'm like, no big deal. It's good. It's a Saturday night to Sunday. I looked at it to book it. It was $557. So now I have to stay 3 miles away and I'm going to have to Uber early in the morning to go over. So the more you wait, the more expensive it's going to get. And by the way, airlines are worse than hotels. So
I need to just go with
there
Brian.
you go. Hey, that's true. You know what? Bring your bags. You can leave your truck at my house and you could drive with Brian. There you go. We figured it out.
But then we got to drive back, Brian. You up for that?
Yeah, he'll probably fly. Well, it just depends. Yeah, he'll probably fly. He'll probably leave the truck out there. But look, it's only one flight. So you're not taking a chance on two. You're taking a chance on one. So look, Brian, we got you a partner. Hey, good show, as Brian Cresson is saying. See y'all next week. Run, Zach, run is what Kevin is saying. And is JJ driving back with me from McKinney to Oxnard? No, Zach is. So anyways, I hope you guys have a great weekend, everybody. We will catch you next week live from the Heritage Boot Camp. Have a great weekend. Bye, guys.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to the Pool Nation podcast, a member of the Pool Nation family. You can listen to us live every Friday here at 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. You can find us at Pool Nation or poolnationpodcast.com, on Facebook, or on Instagram at pool.nation. And to find more info about Pool Invoice, the billing software built specifically for the pool industry, go to poolinvoice.com. Before you go, this is what the pool industry has been waiting for. PoolmanUniversity.com. It's the first platform dedicated to learning the swimming pool service and repair industry, a pool service community where you can connect and find videos on business, service, water chemistry, and repairs. See you there at PoolmanUniversity.com.